Good morning, Zimbabwe. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Zimbabwe Daily, your everyday platform. Today is Thursday, and we are bringing you behind the microphone, a program where we look at all the issues affecting our country and our different zones where we stay and all of that. And today we are talking about a subject that has made rounds in our media, and that is the issue of demolitions, the issue of settling down in wetlands. Let me just play a short video, and when we come back, I will introduce our guest.
The demolitions which are taking place were effected by the sheriff of the High Court following court orders which we won against those cooperatives. Some of the cooperatives took us to court, and some of them we took them to court after they settled on our land illegally. And when we went to court, those cooperatives started competing with us. They started building their houses while the cases were before the courts. So what happened is when we went to court, we won the cases, and the courts ordered demolitions, which were subsequently carried out by the sheriff of the High Court.
Did the residents know?
Yes, when people settle on our land illegally, what we do is we issue them with 24-hour notices for them to vacate our land. And if they fail to vacate the land, we approach the courts, and that is when we get these orders.
How long does the court process take?
We all know that the court cases can drag for even up to 10 years. And during that time, when we're going to court with the people, those people take advantage of that time and they build their structures thinking that they will win the court.
So what is the correct procedure that one has to take in order for them to get land in Harare?
Any person seeking accommodation in Harare should be registered on our council waiting list. That is for a minimum of 6 months. And that applicant should be a first-time home seeker or a resident working in Harare or any other such categories. The applicant should be 18 years and above. The applicant or their spouse should not own property within Harare, Chitungwiza, Norton, and Epworth. Where the applicant is married under customary law or marriage becomes polygamous, the subsequent wives shall be allowed to join housing waiting list immediately. And after joining the waiting list, the candidate should prove to us that he has enough funds to carry building projects, and they are invited for interviews after the directors views their eligibility status, and after carrying out interviews, they may be offered residential stands, and they will be given offer letters, and upon payment, they can now build their houses.
But the allegations are that councillors are the ones who have given land to the majority of these people whose houses are being demolished. How far true? Because the process that you've told us does not include the councillors. It is purely technical. So at what point do the council people, the councillors, come into the fold?
Councillors, they are only policymakers. In such cases, unless if they are cooperative leaders or maybe they are working with the land barons who don't know which part they are involved in.
All right. So that was Mr. Ruende. He is in the city department's public relations department. He spoke to us there as the acting spokesperson just in December. Allow me to introduce our guest for the show. Please introduce yourself, sir.
I'm from the Combined Harare Residents Association.
Sorry, please come again. We didn't get that.
Okay, my name is Ruben Akili. I'm from the Combined Harare Residents Association.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Akili. We are hoping that we have Mr. Ronnie from the Wetlands Trust any moment. So we'll just keep checking with them if they're able to join us after all. So today, Mr. Akili, we just had the process that one has to take from Ruwende of the city of Harare, the process that one has to take in order for them to get a housing stand or a housing stand allocated to them in Harare. Now, we've seen a lot of problems of late. We've seen demolitions taking place. We have seen especially in the rainy seasons, a lot of families have been left to stay outdoors because city council came in and demolished what they termed illegal housing structures. Now, as the Combined Harare Residents Trust, what has the people been saying to you about their where they are settled?
Okay. Firstly, let me first correct that we are from the Combined Harare Residents Association,
Oh,
not
yeah.
the trust. Yes, thank you so much. So in the issues of land and housing, I think we need firstly to go back to say why is the people settling on their own, and what has been the major cause of people settling on their own. And if you
Mm,
are aware, the Combined Directors Association historically, I think it was around the 2008 where we intervened through the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights when council wanted to arbitrarily demolish the houses of the in Budiriro, in the same place which was demolished.
mhm,
And you will see that the issue of those which was surrounding that place, it was not the issues of demolitions, but to us
mm,
we view it as displacements. So you will see that even where houses were demolished, sooner you will see other houses built, and to some extent even regularized. So to us, we have been using some of these so-called demolitions as displacements
mhm,
of the attempts to displace people from their houses. And as I said, we won a court order, and the residents were also told not to do. But however, you will see that behind cooperatives, they've been also hijacked by land barons. And when land barons get into cooperatives, then everything goes haywire. Because I think the council won these court cases because also these people had also gone further to invade probably another piece of land. But however, as I said before, we need to look at what were the major reasons. And I remember even some of the city officials are now suspended, were involved in that saga. So you realize that there was a hand of some city officials, and even were fingered around the Budiriro housing demolitions. I remember
correct.
even the district office, it was also part of the challenge. And even there was also politics, which again plays around the issue of Budiriro demolitions. So you will see that if we fail to realize that there's number one, there's politics at play, and number two, there's an issue of city officials being involved. And to some greater extent, I don't know the councillors, but because this is a technical issue, as previously said by Rwende.
Mm. So what is the challenge really? Because if have been having a lot of these issues over the years, we've been having a lot of issues over the years, and like what Mr. Wenda has said that there are some incidences where somebody is actually served with the eviction notices, but because they feel that they've paid money onto a piece of land, they still remain in that place, even when it is clear that council is saying it's an illegal settlement. What is the challenge with people understanding the illegalities surrounding magariro atakaita muZimbabwe?
Yeah, as I said before, Yvonne, you need to take to account, as I said before, that to us, even historically, if you look, go to Aspindale, houses
Mm,
were demolished previously, and now they are houses, you know. And if you go to many places which demolitions have been conducted, they are now also houses, you know. And to us, that's my point. What I'm saying to say. These are mainly, they are just mainly displacements rather than demolitions. So to demolish is like demolish your house and you will not see a house again on that piece of state or of land. But you realize even if you go deeper to the Budiriro issue, it was even in the battle between the two cooperatives and
Right.
I think where
Same
there's
and
events and
yes.
events, around those issues. So the issue of it was probably some they encroached into some of probably some of their colleagues' land, and those are those are the issues. And even if you see the way the demolitions were conducted, it was not a
Mm,
fully fledged demolition. So those are some of the issues. As I said to you before, the issue of demolitions, there have been many displacements. Go everywhere, you have seen demolitions have been conducted. Demolitions
mm,
have been done in Caledonia. Now houses are there, you
right.
know. And,
Right.
and the land barons,
Which means that somehow it's either people are being given this duplicity in this distribution of land, right? It means maybe I have bought a piece of land where somebody already has the papers, and the one who has the official papers will prevail at the end of the day, right?
thank you so much. So that in councils they call it double allocations. So you will
Mm,
see that there are many double allocations in terms of strength allocation, and then it depends who is who and where do you get your power, and then you prevail at the end of the day. And that has been happening. And we if we fail to look into that, and who are the failures in double allocations of land, and it's a purely
right.
administrative, it's an administrative issue. How can you issue a same stand to three, four, five people and then you demolish? So you see that the people now come back because they know that one way or the other they will reclaim the land. One way
Right.
or the
Right.
other.
So you've spoken of one particular challenge, the issue of double allocations and displacements rather than demolitions. Now I want to come to an issue where housing stands are allocated in spaces, asingaiti, in spaces that all of us can agree that this is not proper. What are these spaces? We're talking of housing that is placed along pipelines, your sewer systems, your water reticulation systems. We've got housing that has been placed pama drainage facilities and stuff like that. Now, who is responsible for this? Is it the council, or is it some land barons that we continue to hear about?
Okay, this is interesting. Let me highlight this to you, Yvonne. Firstly, I'll give for example in high fields. I think psychology Mazivisa wanted to build a house,
Yes.
near President Mugabe's house, right in that area. And I saw a letter from the city official saying that the pipe or the pipe or the water pipe is interfering with the construction of the house. And this stand was an infill. So which was interfering to what? So what I'm trying
Right.
to yeah. So these are the issues we are having. Let's go to Tafara in a near Lafarge cement. We went
Mm,
there with the shells. It's a purely wetland. It's a purely wetland. And we went with
mm,
this guy in planning, and they were saying that the dampness or the wetness of the area was caused by a sewer base. Truly speaking, that is misinforming the public. And if you go now, this is a council approved area where houses are in a wetland, and now people they are in a torrid time right now. So
right.
we don't need to hide behind a finger. We have a planning crisis within our local authority. That is the challenge. Don't have planning. We have got an expired master plan, and we don't have a plan in the city or where to put houses, where to put industries. As you can see, everything is just mushrooming, castles everywhere, etc, etc. And then the situation has been further hijacked by land barons who then take advantage of these weaknesses within the local authority.
Right. And Michelle Mahachi, thank you so much for coming through, says, but the cooperatives are allocating stands in areas that are not sanctioned by council with the hope that they will be regularized. So double allocation is not by council. I think the subject brought by Michelle is a very important factor, because we've had people saying we are already here. We have already built these houses. So why can't council just regularize us? Now, and we have these housing cooperatives. I think in my discussion with Ruwende, he said we actually told residents not to deal with housing cooperatives anymore because of these challenges, the allocation of stands in areas that are not sanctioned by council. The argument council raises is that some of these stands are actually state land. So when the state becomes an interested party, it calls upon the city to demolish these areas. Now, how do you deal with that element that is being brought up by Michelle Mahachi?
Yeah, Michelle, thank you so much for highlighting that to us, to me. As coming from a residents association, what we have seen, as I said before, is people with political muscle also invading land. That's one. I remember we managed to stop an invasion in it was around near Monaville there is the combined arrays association. Even if you follow our Facebook page, we managed to, because these were people who were saying they were war veterans. So these people, they use a section within the constitution which talks about the arbitrary eviction, and then you are supposed to go to court. When you go to the courts, so the court process is very, very long. So the moment when the issue is before the courts, these land invaders then construct houses. That's what happened. So the court process to them is about buying time. And again, there's a provision within the Regional Town Planning Act which gives a room for regularization. Again, that provision has been also be abused both by the local authorities, to allow these illegal development. So people,
What does this provision say? Sorry, what does the provision say?
So the provision say you can pay a fine. For example, you can construct, you can build, and then you then go to the local authority, you pay a fine, kind of like a fine to regularize, and then if they see it fit for them to allow you to go ahead with your development, and then that's it.
Right.
So that has been being manipulated now. So that's what even during the Operation Mrambatrina, you remember some of the houses in high suburbs were demolished, but those who were in low density areas, they were told that they can regularize such structures, and they use such a provision again within the Regional Town Planning Act.
Right. Thank you so much. I just want to introduce our guest. Ronnie, please introduce yourself to the listeners.
I'm Ronnie Chirimota. I'm the conservation officer for Harare Wetlands Trust and also the Flay Scout for Marlborough Flay. I work in educating communities about the importance of wetlands and how best to manage them.
Right. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Okay, I can hear myself through your platform. Right. So we were just talking about that taking place in Harare and around by the combined Harare and the Mr. Akili is. Thank you so much for joining us, Ronnie. Now we want to understand with the wetlands. What is the status for wetlands and how much wetlands have been occupied for housing?
I think I can say that the majority of most of the open spaces or the wetlands in Harare have been occupied for housing. And this is detrimental as the wetlands are the water sources for Harare. But it's a way of trying to address the occupants of the people occupying the wetlands. Harare Wetlands Trusts, in conjunction with is working with the Environmental Management Agency to develop the Harare wetland map. Once this map has been gazetted, it can then minimize the number of people occupying or the number of developments that have been occurring on wetlands.
Right. And what are the consequences?
What are the consequences?
If you look at
If
the
you
video,
look at the video,
that this is good hope
in
Gaza, there was
Gaza,
a bit of flooding.
there
Could it be
was,
that these people are
bit of
in the line of
Could it
a
be that these
wetland, or
people
what
are
could be
in
the
the
challenge?
line of a wetland, or what could be the challenge?
Definitely these people are in the wetlands, because what happens is that wetlands by nature they have a sponge effect, and by sponge effect I mean that when it rains, picture a sponge. When it rains, the wetland or the sponge absorbs that water, and then during the dry season it then releases that water into the rivers and streams. So those who are located on the wetland are located on a sponge. So when it rains, it means that the wetland is going to absorb that water, and because the houses are located on the wetland, it will then result in flooding in those houses, and destructions of upstream wetlands also has major consequences to downstream. Because if a wetland is upstream, is developed on, it means that there will be runoff that is occurring. The wetland will not be able to carry out its function of flood attenuation. So it means that flooding is going to occur downstream. So those who are also located on wetlands downstream will be heavily affected by flooding.
Right. So in that particular case, could it be that these guys are settled downstream?
In that
or they're
particular
actually
case, could
settled
it
in
be
the
that these
wetlands?
guys are settled downstream, or they're actually settled in the wetland?
I think for this case, these guys are actually located right in the wetland. I think Good Hope and Marlborough are next to the Gwebe River. So with the heavy rains that we received, the chances are that the Gwebe River has the banks are flooded, and this has resulted in the houses being flooded as well.
All right. Okay. Wow.
All right.
Thank you
Okay.
for
Wow.
that insight.
Thank you for that insight.
If you're just joining us, we're coming to you
If you're
live
just
from
joining us, we're coming to you live
we
from
have in the studio Mr.
we
Akili
have
from
in the
the
Mr.
Harare
Akili
Residents
from
Association,
the
and we
Residents
also have
Association,
Mr.
and we
Ron
also have
coming through from the
coming through from the
Wetlands track, and we are
track,
just talking
and we
about the
are just
restoration
talking
and the
about
need
the
to
restoration and the
with
need
the housing
to
challenge
with the
and
house
restore
challenge
our
and restore
wetlands
our
in Harare in
wetlands in
particular,
Harare in
and
particular,
in the
and
country.
in
Now,
the
Mr.
country.
Akili,
Now,
you
Mr.
heard the
Akili,
issue of
the
people
issue
settling
of
in wetlands,
settling in
and
wetlands,
I am
and
sure because
I
these
am sure
houses,
because
most of these houses have
most of
not been
houses
demolished.
have
I'm
not
sure
been
they've been
demolished. I'm sure
allocated
they've
by
been allocated
council.
by
Now,
council.
are we
Now, are we
likely to see a
likely to
solution
see
to
a
some of these
solution to
challenges
some of these
that
challenges that
residents will continue to face
residents will
in light of the
face in light
in a
of
way
the
they are being settled
in a way they are
right
being
now?
settled right now?
Hello, I can't hear you very well.
I can't hear you very well.
You are breaking. The line is breaking. So I was just
You are
speaking there,
breaking.
but
The line is breaking. So I'm just speaking there, but
All right, I'm not too sure where I am getting feedback from.
All right, I'm not too sure where I am getting feedback from.
I'm not too sure now where the feedback is coming from. Ronnie, are you still with us? Can you still hear me?
Not too sure now where the feedback is coming from. Ronnie, are you still with us? Can you hear me?
Right. I think we're having a bit of a network challenge. This challenge of working from home, we always will have this internet interruption, but we'll continue the conversation. Mr. Akili, can you hear me now clearly?
yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. So what I want to do is to just play a little bit of some audios that some residents sent to me. It's just two audios, and I want us to have a conversation around what these guys are saying. All right, so we should be hearing them just about now.
Firstly, I support the demolitions. People should know that stands are not bought on the under the tree or in the bars. Stands are bought through right channels like council offices. And I think those cooperatives should be banned.
Right. What do you say about that assertion that cooperatives must be banned?
You see that the issue of housing, the issues of cooperative, it was a way of trying to make sure that people pull resources together. But the issue of cooperatives, it's been being manipulated by people who are
Right.
making money. So existence, I think we totally agree. We need a model where the local authority, where citizens pay their money within to the local authority, and then the local authority then allocate tents or houses. Otherwise, the systems of cooperative have been not it have to
Not
some
it,
extent,
some
but it has failed because it have produced illegal settlements. It have produced even thieves, especially even those who are running the cooperatives. I'll give for an example, Kugarika Kushinga Housing Cooperative, which started
Right.
around when I was grade one, long back and around 1990 there. It's still applied for land, it doesn't make sense. So to us, it has become a business. So it is the issue of cooperatives have been subject to manipulation and are subject to take over by those who want to make money. So they apply probably 100 cents when they have got 20 people, and then they sell the remaining 80. So we need a model where the local authority itself then have money from citizens, and when it allocates, like for example, the local authority have a kind of like an account with you, when probably you pay probably half or whatever of the intrinsic land value, they allocate you. Then the money goes direct to the local authority. And in fact, the local authority have lost huge millions, and even the government to
Right.
this cooperative dollars. So again, this is the in fact local authorities should view this as an opportunity to get money and funding through selling these stands rather than use cooperatives. Yeah, they have not worked truly. They've not worked. To some extent, it is provided houses to some, but I
Right.
think it has been subject to.
All right. Let's hear
It is
this
cruel
next
to
guest.
demolish houses for people, but I think actually I also blame the people who
I think
bought
it
the
Right.
stand. Because honestly, how can you be buying a stand? Paunoona kuti hapaiti, like under electricity lines, pamusoro pemadhireni, mumakuva, pachibhorani. Who does that? Like recently, kunokuva makatotengeserwa mugoma chokuti izvi mugomba imomo chitori chidhemu, but you find kuti vamwe vanhu vakatotenga makatocherwa foundation. Who does that? And then kana kwakuya kuchinzi hanzi izvoni demolition, munhu woti hanzi they cry foul. And also I blame vari kutengesa vacho because they want money, shortcut isingatoiti. They don't even have, havatombozivi kana havatombosiri kucancel. All they want is to pocket money. Then I also blame council yacho, because council yacho inozviona zvichiitika. Isusu chaiko kuno kwedu kuunit L takatovadaidza kuchivakwa, tikavadaidza uyai muono kuna vanhu vari kuita sei vari kuvaka. They didn't come. They knew kuti kuri kuvakwa, but they didn't come. And also I also blame the government for allowing all this nonsense. They should have clipped the wings dzemaland baronai kudhara, because vakaona kuti havana zvavanoitwa, so they keep on doing it. So pakaitwa example yekuti kana pakambosungwawo maland baron, I think zvinoita zviri nani, because the insanity has gone to malevels asingaiti. But zvimwe zvacho isuwo vanhu, we should desist from buying stands panzvimbo dzisingaiti. City yaunotengeserwa pasi pemuti, sure ungatengeserwa stand pasi pemuti like a tomato, inge maputi, inge mamengo, and then you want to cry foul. Sometimes we mustn't kuda kungoblame vanhu pese pese. It starts with us, zvakafanana necorruption. It's us people who offer money to the police. If we don't offer money to the police, cannot to anyone or to any official, government official, anyone, for a service to be done, then handifuni kuti corruption inoita. So isusuwo sevanhu we should desist from kuita zvinhu zvisiri pamutemo because tisu tine zvikurudziro.
Right. So that is another resident coming through from Unit L Kushtungiza and saying that there are some people who built a house in Madren to an extent that since 3 years ago, each time it rains heavily, like it has been raining the past few weeks and days, they actually have to suffer the brunt of those buildings. Now, right. Okay, Ronnie, I think I'm having a bit of a challenge with.
So that is another resident coming through from
having a bit of a challenge with
coming through from
your
Unit L
own machine
Design, saying that
because it's coming right into the program. So I may have to remove Ronnie from the show. But we continue this conversation, Mr. Akili. This lady raises fundamental issues to do with paying money for service, saying why should we pay money for people to do the correct thing? Munhu akasvikovakira imba yake padrain. Yeah. What do you say about the comment and the contribution made by this lady?
Okay. From what I was saying before, Yvonne, I think one of the challenges we have is we when we have serious administrative issues. You know, back a house when it was constructed, you have a plan. It starts from the foundation, and they come to window level, whatever. But this was said by the local authority. That's the system, isn't it? So from the onset of building of the house, where is the local authority? Where is it? You know, and like from what I was saying to you is that provision, people are told, no, we are going to remove the drain, or we are going to do A, B, C, D. And even an allocation of stands. I'll give for an example. If you have traveled to Mutare Road near Mabvuku, opposite Inoxim there, right? It's been allocated for stands, and I hear people from different areas of Zimbabwe and Harare saying that we have got land stands in Mabvuku, but you are allocated stands, but you have not even gone there. So when you go there, stands are not allocated physically. They are allocated. They use GIS, etc. And then at the end of the day, you are in Bulawayo or whatever, and you're told your number is stand number 1858. And probably you realize that there's a big stone there, or there's sewer and whatever. And then when you begin to engage, you are told you are going to fix it, you are going to fix it, you are going to fix it, something like that. I'm not trying to say citizens also they don't have a role to play. Citizens have a role to play in terms of saying that where I've been allocated. But again, the planning authority have been failing citizens. The planning authority has been the one which has been on the forefront of even breaking its own laws. So you know that even if as a city we're supposed to build a school here, and then you put houses, what does it mean? And then you regularize, and then we blame again the same citizens. So to us, we need a strong local authority with strong planning. Again, I think there's a person from Chitungwiza who said etc. The Minister of Local Government, I think that time it was under Minister Chombo,
right?
If I'm not mistaken, they conducted a land audit which was conducted by the Minister of Local Government. And if you read that, there were Fred Jimabamba was fingered in most of the land allocations in Chitungwiza. And even the recommendations from the audit which was done by the government, it indicated that Fred Mabamba should be arrested. But even until now, Fred Mabamba has not found himself in the prison. So those are the issues which we need to talk about. Those are the issues because they continue to be recurrent. There's a report which is saying this person must be A, B, C, D, but it does not happen that way. And then at the end of the day, people they begin to break these laws willy-nilly, knowing that we are politically connected or we are powerful.
Get away with it, yeah.
So that those are the challenges. The things which we do not want to talk about, even on radio stations. These are the issues which are affecting citizens. those politics have killed planning in Zimbabwe. Politicians have destroyed wetlands in Zimbabwe. Politicians have failed even people in terms of access to housing.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Akili. I think on Thursday, we will try to have another of this Indaba and try to involve those who have been in council as officials, have the technical department, probably the planning, the town planning, so that we can get to the bottom of this. Because the biggest challenge that we continue to face in our city is that people are not informed. It's either people are not informed because they don't want to know what the truth is, or they are not informed because they just want to get land. Land has become a serious problem. Thank you so much, Mr. Akili, for joining us on today's Behind the Mic.
Thank you so much, Yvonne.
Awesome. Ronnie, I want to thank you so much also for joining us, though we had a bit of a network challenge. Thank you so much for being part of us.
Government, I think that time it was under Minister Chombo.
All right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Akili. Have a wonderful rest of day. All right, Zimbabwe. So that was the conversation we were having with the Combined Harare Residents Association and the Harare Wetlands Trust, just to find out where we are and to locate ourselves. So the challenges that we've been facing is that wetlands are no longer able to play their role because buildings have been placed in those areas. And we've also seen that the political muscle has been misplaced in our community, as the challenges of housing that we face remain a political muscle challenge. So we are hoping that in the next conversation that we have, we will be able to bring to you the policymakers so that we get to the bottom of these issues. What has happened to those people who have been fingered in the allocation of stands illegally? What is the status with the land barons? We continue to see government saying one thing, but on the ground, nothing has been done. I don't think the land barons are spiritual beings, but they are physical beings who are actually cashing in on struggling Zimbabweans. Thank you so much, Zimbabwe, for joining us today on Behind the Microphone. Let us keep ourselves safe. We are in the days of COVID-19. So mask up, wash your hands, and stay at home, stay safe. Thank you so much for joining me. Join me in a bit as we talk COVID-19 and the education sector in Zimbabwe.